Hey, how's everybody doing? Hey, this is admin from PlexGuide. Just doing another video here. So like I said, we've knocked out quite a few. We talked about the unencrypted R clone configurations, Plex drive. So what this one is just a quick crash course in Ansible. Apologize, I'm a little tired. Just like I said in every single video. Please subscribe, save, thumbs up, and share it out. Good knowledge helps us all. So, anyways, to get started, there's some prior knowledge you'll need to know. But if you're guessing off the whim, it's not that hard to use Ansible. Ansible is very powerful. It saves a lot of time in writing the same bash commands over and over again. And I can give you just a mini quick demo. And again, this is just a quick crash video. So you just get a little idea of what's going on. So typically, like what I did was I separated my Ansible, my scripts. As we started converting stuff over to Ansible, we started deleting the scripts. So this folder used to be much bigger. If you ever want to check our scripts, you can even download the old versions of PlexGuide and the versions, and you can see some differences. So Ansible has a bunch of roles here, which we'll talk about. But when it comes to the scripts, so for example, the scripts aren't really as hard as you think they are. So it's a good thing if you decide to download PlexGuide. You learn how to manipulate some of the stuff, and you can even push changes back to us because, like I said, the project's kind of big. So it's very helpful when we have others assisting us, and our knowledge is limited in ways too. We all know a little of everything. So I started picking up Linux in July of 2017. So you're roughly talking about almost getting there to 8 months, and I really try. So, for example, when you start up PlexGuide, it actually kicks off this menu sh. So if you look at the script, basically it's just doing a menu, which you notice, it's like, hey, here's the menu. So like, let's say you wanted to help assist PlexGuide. You wanted to make another insertion. You would just kind of copy and paste this and put it below. And then obviously you would go down and some common sense, you would kind of duplicate this plus of every number here. And then if you notice the patterns here, it's kind of doing certain things. So it's like saying bash, blah, blah, blah. Here's the location. So if you pay attention to the locations here, kind of goes out, you would just go to that script. So basically the menu's saying, hey, go to this location and execute this next thing. So, you can start tracking the patterns of it, which will help assist you. And then so for example, let's say we got what's something that's really obvious? So scripts menu help sh. So menus, then backup. Let's see, backup restore. Let's do that one. Backup restore. See that right there? Backup restore, and then backup restore right there. So then when we look at it, it's just again another menu, and actually this one is kind of threaded. So it's another menu, and it does another thing: backup and restore. So if I go to menus, over time, to be honest with you, I got lost at times. That's why it's very important to kind of plan how you can do this from the beginning. So here, it's doing a restore, and what it's doing is again, it's doing a menu, and it's doing a series of codes, and it's saying, hey, go to another script. So half of this is actually kind of like sub menus, kind of like pointing to something. But when it gets to the meat and potatoes of something, let's see, it says Docker no, so backup scripting, and here's some of the code. So it's basically saying, hey, go find Plex, and then go to that, write Plex to this file. It does, it asks a question, it captures it, and then it says if the answer is yes, for backing up, then go here, stopping your Docker program, Docker stop, and if you look at this is the variable that will store it up here. And again, you're not really trying to learn this. This is the variable right here. It's just to kind of give you like, oh, okay, if I try to understand it a little bit, I can get it. And then there's rclone copy, so it's going to back up. So that says app data YML. So for some of you who watched a few of my other videos, we was talking about Union FS a little bit. I believe in the encrypted version. So if I go to opt app data, and then you see there's the name of the program. So oops, cd mount. Sorry, it's been such a long day. I should have went there. cd. Yeah, okay. So there's all the programs that have installed all our data. So what it's saying here is like, stop, this Docker program, then zip it, and then shoot it to the temporary file. So here's the temporary file, cd temp, and then you know, type directory, nothing really here. And then go ahead and remove it from temporary once it's copied over to Google Drive. See, rclone copy this to Google Drive. And again, you're not trying to learn it here. This is just to kind of give you an idea. Then restarting Docker program, restarts it, it's good to go. So if you want to see like a little mini demo of it, so sudo, first of all, let's start up PlexGuide. So again, you'll see like, submenus. So for example, remember backup restore, see? So there's that backup, and we're gonna, let's say, back up a program, or let's do a restore. I might get some errors because I didn't do everything, and this is a test server, so I'd rather restore stuff that doesn't affect it. So if I restore Ombi to this test server, let me see if I backed it up. So there's that yes question you see right there. There's that yes question. See, I did that yes. And you see right now I couldn't find anything because I don't have anything to restore. Okay, let's do nzb get. So restore, obviously I know I have something there. So it's doing that same thing. That's that variable, nzb get. And looks like I didn't have anything there either. Oh, the reason I can't restore this is because I'm on my test Google Drive. So stupid me. Okay, so let's do program, because again, I'm on my test drive, so this won't affect me. The reason I'm very careful about this is because you don't want to lose everything. So for example, here's nzb get. nzb get is fun, a great program to download stuff, but when you configure these programs over and over again, it starts becoming a headache to reconfigure and reconfigure and reconfigure, especially when you have, for example, like sonar or radar, and you have like thousands of things in there, to redo this over and over again is a pain. So every time I do a backup and restore, I'm very, very careful. But again, part of the reason why we created a backup and restore for you and pushing it to the Google Drive is to ensure that you're able to recover your stuff. So right now you see a lot of this Ansible stuff kicking in. So basically what this does for you is it executes a series of codes, and it does what you need it to do. So right now it's creating a conf file. So while it's finishing that up, and again, this is a small test server, basically it's finishing up. So this is kind of a long drawn out process, because sometimes if you line up things wrong, or, well, not as much here, but if you miss a space and everything, it's just going to drive you back crazy on what to fix. And then the problem too is when your script messes up, unless you have like what I call anchors or whatever you want to call it, not knowing where the error occurred, again, you will go nuts and you'll have to go back to a bunch of logs to figure out the error. So what Ansible does here is, if there is an issue, it will tell you what the issue is. So let's go to Ansible here, right? So the first thing about Ansible that just threw me off is that this is a little different. It's based off a main file that sits outside of all of these. So you have to have a folder. It doesn't have to be called that, but you need a roles. And inside, let's see. So sitting outside, or basically within this folder, but not within the roles, you're going to have a YML file. So if you look at PlexGuide, you have all of these lovely roles, right? So you're asking maybe, why do you have them all written out like this? Well, because they keep it simple. We have a menu interface that can just call up a role and just execute things. So in theory, you could create more tags and or roles. And basically what you can do is you can I think, yeah. So you can do PlexGuide, YML, tag, organizer, and if the role here is organizer, and Plex will execute both. I believe it's something to that effect. But for simplicity, this makes it simple. The vars file is not required. So this is required when you want to have variables. So if you have variables, for example, like Plex, and you need to recall something that's sitting in a file, this is something that you would do. And wow, what is up with this test server? So again, this is a test server. I haven't really fully done everything with it. So yeah, whatever's going on with it. So, but I think you get the idea. Normally you don't have this problem. Again, this is just a quick live video. Sometimes, shit happens. So So here's these programs. So for example, like when we were talking about, let's say deploying Plex, right? So we're going to deploy Plex right here. And if you notice, it's going to go through a series of stuff. We created menus, stable, beta. But right now it's starting to execute a series of steps. You'll notice that if you go to the role for Plex right here, that it's doing the same thing. See, get server, debug, whatever you named all the stuff, get the token. So it's executing a series of steps. Now with Ansible, it is very, very important that you line it up all correctly. This program right here called Sublime Text. There's another program called Atom, but I like this one because it makes everything colorful and pretty. And maybe Atom does too. Maybe something I don't know. I know it does a bunch of plugins, but I know this works for me. So if I push this name over and I save it and I try to run it, guess what? It's Ansible will yell at you and say, hey, your stuff's all jacked up, so it won't execute. So that's why I kind of like the program. So right now here it says remove any existing Plex container. This is important because if you have an older version of Plex or something out there running, you want to stop it and remove it. You're not losing your data. So if you watch the encryption video, you'll realize that it's getting the server IP. It's checking if the path exists. So here, when these are just names, these don't actually do anything. This just gives you a sanity check on what the function is. But each function has certain things. So for example, stat path. So basically what this doing is it's looking to see if this file exists in the first place. So the way it finds out is it looks for this. And then what it does is, it registers a variable, if it exists. So and that's important because you don't want certain things happening if it exists already, because what you don't want to overriding your preferences over and over again each time you launch your thing. But again, like I said, don't get too wrapped around this video. This is just to kind of say, oh, hey, this is what Ansible is. There's remove the container. Here's going to pull the Plex image. So we used to have a complicated script that would pull the images before. They're YMLs, but this is very organized. So what you're starting to see here, starting via YML, almost 3 format. Ansible does require things to be written up a certain way. So if you're doing stuff with Docker containers, you could just go to Google and just type, Docker deploy container Ansible, and you'll find very good examples of them. And you can look at ours, and you can find a lot out there. So if you play with YMLs a little bit, you'll notice that here it says, hey, his name is the Plex. This knows to reach out to Plex's images. Here's the port numbers. Here's the environmental variables. This is important right here because these are permissions. This is going to help you claim your server. So like you notice right here, it's asking to claim the server, but we're not really going to do it. Well, let's do it for, how about we just do it for shits and giggles. So HTTPS claim Plex.tv claim. Might as well, since we're here. So you kind of see how this sees itself through. So you just copy it and then you paste it, and you'll see the rest of it execute. So basically, when we're talking about variables, this is what variables are. Yeah, something's going on with this. Again, this was a test server. I didn't fully set it up, but you saw how it yelled at me. But anyways, when it's technically completely done, just ignore this. Yeah, you can tell this install's being weird because I didn't set up everything properly. I was just doing parts for certain videos. So you can say, hey, prioritize the CPU, restart, here's traffic, that HTTP proxy, and then create these directories, set up these permissions, deploy web tools. So Ansible does a series of steps, but you notice the name of the folder is called Plex. You have to have this folder called tasks under it and this YML sitting in there called main YML. So what happens is when there's like a certain line of code, let's see, where's PlexGuide? You'll notice it says Plex, where are you hiding? Right there. So if you have it formatted like this, when you're calling up this YML right here, it knows to go look for a role, see, roles, and then it's going to go to Plex automatically. You don't have to tell it to do all that, which is the magic of it, and it's going to start executing all those series of steps for you. So, trying to think here. So where would you see this lovely line of code sitting at? So this is where it goes back to our scripts. Let's see here. GitHub desktop, no. This program confused the hell out of me when I first started all this GitHub stuff because this does not do anything other than syncing your files back and forth. So You download GitHub Desktop. Don't think that it's the actual program that does all your stuff. Okay, so there's Ansible right there, scripts. So right now we are deploying programs. So we did a program media, no, servers. Like I said, you start forgetting your stuff over time. You start feeling like you're getting old. Okay, so select support. No, not there. Swear to God, I thought, was it managers? No. NZB's media, critical, beta, support. You're probably staring at it right now, and I'm probably the one losing my mind. NZB's. Oh, there we go. It's called media. Okay, see, I should have made better choices. So you can see here that you know, these are the programs that are on this menu. So if you look at number 1, this is the line that executes. It says, hey, Ansible playbook. So if I just type Ansible playbook and bash, so Ansible, you see how it's there, because when you do the pre-installer, it all shows up. And you see there's nothing really going on, but you notice it's a command. So, but when you deploy Ansible playbook, here's the location where I have that YML, and there's that tag. You see how we're specifying something very specific. So when you choose number 2 in the menu here, it goes here, goes to Ansible playbook, and it's like, hey, here's a tag, here's MB. So basically, it's talking to that PlexGuide YML, and then as you saw earlier, so I don't have it open, but as you saw earlier, it will go to MB, and then Ansible will go to MB here, and then it will start launching all of this. See, there's the permissions, and here's the volumes that are open. You know, make sure you watch our Docker Portainer videos to kind of help you get an idea about this. So, like I said, Ansible is a very powerful product. It'll confuse you at first. It will yell at you a lot, but once you start using it, it's very friendly because it's very structured, and you kind of, like, even our new users, you know, they'll start picking up a little bit, and they'll start pushing stuff to us. So for example, here, let's go to PlexGuide here, and what we can do is we can see one of our awesome users, coders and tech support assisting us. So as you know, I'm losing my mind trying to do all this stuff, you know, the videos, the coding, and everything's going on. So right now we have, you know, push requests that I accepted a little while back ago. So you see that we have 2 sitting here from one of our users, but it's on a hold right now. So I know he did push request, but I don't know where I know we did it. So basically there was just a minor mistake where it wasn't calling up the program, but you could see other users assisting us. So you can see that a lot of people fork our project, which is important because when you fork the project, you download it. And when you make changes, you make your own independent changes, and you can push it to us. Because if you're making changes and then you download the update that, you know, is in the menu, it will override everything that you did. So you can see here that, you know, we wrote a lot of code. You know, Creator was really big on pushing the reverse proxy. You know, we've got an upcoming star here. You know, we've got Design Gears. He's the man that, you know, has been working traffic, and you can see he's deleting a lot of junk for us. And then we have people pushing minor code. So everybody that's doing something is very important. So, like I said, you notice that you're like, hey, this looks familiar. Ansible, there's scripts, right? You notice that it looked the same in here. So remember, that program is Sublime text if you want to make it easy to edit. So for the first 2 months, months maybe, or not up to 2 months, but I literally edit everything through the browser. I did not understand GitHub. GitHub is confusing at first, but in actuality, it's really simple. But I hope this video helps. I know, like I said, a little bit if it's off tangent, but I'm just trying to give you, you know, a frame of what I'm thinking. You know, as always, you know, just please subscribe, and you can tell I'm tired. It's like the end of the night. But subscribe, thumbs up, share, comment, you know, all that good stuff. You hear it in all these videos all the time, but they're right. It's a lot of effort. But like I said, it goes a long way when you do that. Also, like I said, on our PlexGuide project, you know, feel free. You know, you start coding and you got questions, you know, come to our forum. I'm not always there. My battle's there, and I have other great members that come to assist. So like for example, we got Pomi, who's an awesome guy, and he's trying to get the bearings going on how to deploy handbrake. So they don't necessarily have the full file yet, but it's something that they're pushing. So again, thanks for coming by, and appreciate your time.